Hi, and welcome to FrazlCast. Climb aboard the GNOME train.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
Please make sure to keep your limbs and experimental instruments inside the train at all times. And now, on with the show.
A podcast by a Blizzard fan gnome about World of Warcraft and geeky stuff. I promise you, they do talk about the World of Warcraft. They just go off the rails sometimes.
I'm Frazly, and I'm joined by Anastazja of General Chat and Allie of Dungeon Fables and all things Azeroth.
Hello.
Hello.
On this episode, I want to turn the tables, which is hard to do as a gnome because these are big tables. But Allie and I have both been on General Chat, and we had a great time.
Oh, thank you.
This is true. Very, very good time.
Oh.
But I also know that Allie and I want to get to know you better, Anna.
Oh no, all my dark secrets are coming out. Ooh.
Yeah, it's the tell-all book. This is the podcast, and then there'll be like a whole, like, my time on General Chat. It'll be a...
You guys are getting an exclusive.
Yes. But before we get into tell-all stuff and all that, Epic and Sandy, what time is it?
It's time to go around the table.
Great idea. So what have you been up to recently? Let's start with Anna.
Oh boy, so I have been busy. I don't know if you've seen, but I have a bunch of animals right now. I have 7 chickens and 2 ducklings, and so I've been busy running around and building them a run and a coop and a nice little like chicken mansion, I would call it. It's very nice. Outside of that, I haven't really had time to play many games, so I've been kind of just like slouching on that. I've been studying and I've been doing family stuff and trying to get an exam for my work. So I've been like really slow on the game playing side of things. But recently, here's the but. Here, wait for it, it's coming. But recently, I was telling my very good friend about Skyrim and why he should play it and how much I love it. And in telling him why he should play Skyrim, I was like, man, I should get back into playing Skyrim. So I think I'm going to start doing that this weekend.
I spent so many hours in there, and I'm not even close to being done. It's a fantastic game.
I need to play it. It's one of those, I've played a few hours into it, but I was on the PS3 and it was buggy as heck. But now I've got it on the PC. I just need to re-download it and play it because I spent so much time in Morrowind. I mean, I went all over Morrowind. And in fact, my name's in the credits for the Morrowind Game of the Year edition on Xbox.
What?
Yeah, I had to send in my save game. They then gave me a name on the credits because they were transferring from the Morrowind regular to Morrowind Game of the Year. So that's my claim to fame with Elder Scrolls.
Very cool.
But yeah, Skyrim. I've seen a lot of people getting back into Skyrim.
It's one of those games that you can come back to time and time again because I've put hours into Skyrim. Like I've been playing it for a couple years and I can sit down, I can play it all night. And right now, actually, like the most recent save I have, I'm playing only side quests. I haven't done the main quest at all. I'm only going around and talking to random NPCs and doing side quests, and it's been very fun. But I was watching a like behind the voice actors, all the different voice actors of Skyrim, and I would say like 60% of the characters I'd never met. And I've put so much time into the game. That just shows you.
There's so much to it.
So much content.
Well, and I wonder with like the pathing, you might go to some area and like an NPC's they're sleeping or they're somewhere else and you don't see them. You
got to go back. That's why you can play Skyrim a million times.
One of my favorite Skyrim memories, I know this is not the Skyrim podcast, but I have to share this. So dear old Bellathor over in Whiterun, he would always annoy me. He wasn't there when I needed him. And seems a little sleazy, a little just annoying. So I started taking every troll skull that I ever looted and would dump it in his shop. For a while, like I was nicely placing them like up on shelves, and I had a whole bunch of lining the counter and stuff. And then that just took too much time, so I just started just throwing them all over there.
You probably open a closet, all of a sudden all these skulls just fall out of the closet.
So my husband is in chat, and he's remembering. He would die laughing multiple times watching me dump my trolls. Anytime I looted a troll skull, he'd be like, "You're gonna go take that to Bellathor, aren't you?" Yep.
You're like, yes, sweet revenge.
Oh yeah.
Capo in chat is asking, it would say there between plays?
Oh yes,
Wow.
it would. Every once in a while they would like, because it's a Bethesda game. So every once in a while it would bug out, or I have some vague memory of me killing myself somehow, like running over one of them.
It happens.
Yeah. And he would like randomly like walk over them. And sometimes they would disappear once in a while, like a few here and there, especially if there was supposed to be some other object there. And I moved the object to put my skull there. But for the most part, a good chunk of them stayed, which was just so good. So much fun.
And the ones that were disappearing were probably for like a local cult that were in the city.
You know, it's entirely possible knowing Skyrim.
Yes.
There's a lot of cults in Skyrim.
There really is.
Some quality cult content, I would say.
Yes.
Outside of playing Skyrim, what I've also been doing is watching Terrace House. Oh, so it's not Terrace House. I keep joking with my husband by calling it Terrace House, but it's actually Terrace House. It's on Netflix. It's a Japanese reality TV show. And it's that old trope of like, oh, everyone's stuck in a house together, except they're not really stuck. Like they can all go to their day jobs. They can leave, come back, then go hang out with friends, but they all basically live in this house together. And there's a lot of like, will they, won't they, like relationship stuff and all of that. But it's really enjoyable because like there's a panel of people that like watch it. After like a pivotal scene, it'll pan to the people who are watching or transition over to them. And so, you know, they'll all take off their headphones and like sit back and kind of just like digest what just happened in this like big moment. And it's kind of like you're watching it, even if you're watching it by yourself, it's like you're watching it with a group of friends because you're like, oh yeah, that's how I perceived this moment. Or, oh, I didn't see it that way. It's really interesting to get that like immediate feedback of what other people thought.
It's amazing. I've always been drawn to reality shows. I don't know why. Like ever since like Real World and stuff like that.
Real World. Is it the whole like train wreck concept? Like you just can't look away?
Yeah.
Well, I think like who doesn't love to see what goes on in people's minds or like, or take a peek into like what they're really like, or like, what would you do in this situation? There's some like voyeuristic element to it, I think.
Yeah. And you want to tell your mind, I know this is probably staged and I'm just going to ignore the fact that it's probably edited to make these people look like they're absolute savages.
But that's what I've been up to.
You know what would be interesting now? A mod for Skyrim with Terrace House, where you have all the different like main characters and they're in a house and then we're following them on camera.
I could probably recreate that. Just get a bunch of like Jarls or join like the Brotherhood or something like that.
And I know when I play Skyrim, there is a mod to bring in World of Warcraft gnomes to play as the race. So that'll be what I'm going to be playing Skyrim as when I download it.
That does not surprise me. The mods you could do for Bethesda games, like there is a mod for Fallout 4 that turns all of the ammunition into the blue and red lasers from Star Wars, and they make the pew 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 sound.
Oh,
nice.
It's kind of fun.
That's amazing.
So, Allie, when you're not pew pew pewing with Star Wars, what have you been up to?
Oh, Frasley. So I have been distracted by you make me facepalm. So my main raid team was able to get down Conclave and Rosticon on Heroic.
Nice.
In Battle to Zarlor, so I was pretty excited about that. And I also got a chance on Tuesday to run Crucible of Storms for the first time with the Rubber Chicken Coalition.
Nice!
Raid group, which is always a lot of fun with those people. We downed the first boss, Restless Cabal. It was really exciting. So I just this past Sunday released my Gruul's Lair episode. And in the first boss of Gruul's Lair, there was an ad that you have to have a mage tank for, which I always thought was a really unique mechanic. And you don't see often in WoW. And on this fight, you need a mage to tank one of the ads. I was really excited to see that again, and I may have been the only one, but I thought that was really cool that it was, you know, another special role for someone other than a tank kind of thing. And it was cool. I liked that fight. It was good.
And that's fun when they make when they make it feel interesting. I remember when I was on Azeroth Roundtable and like I think it was John who said it'd be great if you took specific characters with you and fights would be different because of that character.
Yeah, like
class.
That fight in Gruul's Lair. Not only did you have the one, you know, mage to tank that one guy, but one of the other guys, you had to have like a hunter and a warlock, and everyone had those special roles, which doesn't happen too often anymore because, for good reason, Blizzard wants you to bring the player and not the class, which I think is good. That way people are saying, oh, you're a druid, you can't come. So we don't have that anymore. But it was really fun to have fights where you have a special role and you just feel unique and like you matter. So it'd be nice to see that again somehow, but like make sure like everyone has a role, not just, a handful. So I got really excited to see a mage needing to tank in that fight. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and it's fun that it's even a thing where it's outside of the mage's main abilities.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And what else? I did the Xalatath questline, which I obviously won't do any spoilers here, since we don't do spoilers here.
Oh, try to ask it without spoiling.
Oh, I kept it.
Okay, that's good. I don't want to know.
Which is funny because so it was really awesome doing it on a Shadow Priest, because I spent all of Legion, well, half of Legion, the other half I was, holy, but I spent a lot of time with that weapon in Legion. So it was really cool how they were able to individualize some of the dialogue for the Shadow Priest and acknowledge the fact that I did own that weapon for a while. So I think that was a really nice touch by Blizzard, and I liked it a lot. And even though I'm mostly holy this expansion, I still, have that twisted evil shadow side, and I am keeping that. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm keeping it.
I've never known you to have an evil side. No.
I am sweet and innocent.
What I want to know is what happened to turn you from a holy priest into a shadow priest halfway through an expansion. Was there some sort of event?
No, not this time. She's always been in touch with her holy side and her shadow side. Like back in the days of Burning Crusade, when I first started her, you had the different trees. And I, was mostly holy, so I can heal my people and everything. But I also always put points in shadows, so I could still do some DPSing. And so she's always been in touch with both sides, and always in my head canon as I've gone through the expansions. She's just grown in her ability to handle both sides. Kind of like how Lyria can be all void and everything, but not let the void overtake her. Right. My priest is holy and a good healer, but she also has that shadow side, and she'll bring it out when she needs to. But she has both under control, at least for now.
I enjoyed Shadow when I was on my Dwarf Priest, because Shadow has them in that nice DPS.
So I think holy priests get like the best transmog. I want to say they have really cool looking transmog. I've played between, I know what you're saying, Allie. It's kind of fun to switch between like playing that holy side and playing that shadow side, and then to combine them and kind of go back and forth. It's like the inner struggle for what is right and what is wrong, and RPing that can be really enjoyable. So I'm glad you told me about it. But if we're going to get superficial, holy transmog is the best. Angel Wings, Halo, come on.
Yeah. And the staff we got for Legion was really, really amazing. And I love that thing. So I definitely agree with you there. So I started a challenge tune for WoW challenges. Started for the Iron Man challenge, which means no talents, no gear above white or gray quality, no professions, no flasks, no buffs from outside people, no bags from outside people or gold. You're on your own. The first few levels were easy enough, but I think as of today, she's level 17. And I'm starting to feel that squishiness of having really crappy gear and not taking talents. So I'm really curious to see how long I'll last.
I want to try one, and now you're giving me even less excuse.
You totally should. I almost died once to a cliff because I went off it, and I just kind of underestimated a little bit the height of it and almost fell to my death, but I didn't. If you die, like that's it, that tune is out.
Gotta
so
start
you can't
over.
die. Oh, and I can't do dungeons. That's the only thing. I can't do dungeons, which feels very foreign for me because I like my dungeons.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's been really interesting. And I'm excited that I'm doing this and see how long I last. I'm
definitely now going to have to do. I just want to make sure I do it the right way. So I got to read through the rules again, because I've joked with Zorch, because I know some of the rules, and I've joked with them, and now I know if I don't do the rules properly, Zorch is totally going to come back and be like, Frasley, didn't you know not to do that?
Well, so I'm friends with Zorts and I'm friends with Stone, so I fully expect one of them to yell at me if I mess up. But what's nice is that they do have a Discord, and that community is just super supportive of each other. They'll answer each other's questions. They have some great moderators in there that help a lot. I've been over paranoid about making sure I'm following the rules. And so I ask like stupid questions, but they're just super nice, you know, and say, for example, someone loses their tomb because they died, like everyone's sympathetic for them. And it's so far from what I've seen. It's a great community. So I suggest anyone try it because it is pretty awesome.
And they have a great podcast too.
Yes, they do.
That's awesome. Well, I think I need to take some time to go to a quiet place. I was on Netflix, which is a scary thing to do because they've been doing a lot of great stuff recently. So The Silence was on Netflix. I'm like, okay, this is like A Quiet Place, which I never saw. So I watched it. Not a bad popcorn movie. I mean, it has, is it Stanley Tucci? He was in The Lovely Bones. He was in The Devil Wears Prada. And he was also the husband in Julie and Julia. But yeah, he was in it. So, I mean, not a bad cast of characters. But then I went on Amazon Prime and I found that they had A Quiet Place. So that's the one that was out there last year. It was like the big thing, like memes were happening and stuff like that. At least that's what I saw. And I was waiting to see it. And I loved A Quiet Place. It was so great. In fact, I found out that there's A Quiet Place 2 coming out. And I'm excited because I like those apocalyptic suspense movies. It's fun. And there was one moment where I was watching the movie. A Windows computer in our house chimed. I'm like, oh no, they heard us. I was like, it jumped out of my skin. And then another point, like my cat was next to me and started meowing. I'm like, no, quiet. There's also the thing you got to see on YouTube. There was a skit on SNL called A Kanye Place, a parody of A Quiet Place. Hilarious. Poopity scoop and stuff like that. And then that's all I'll say, but you've got to see A Kanye Place. What was interesting though, I had a dream last night that I was in a post-apocalyptic world, and I was with some people, and we were going through abandoned department stores. I think like we were in a Walmart or Target or something like that. I mean, it's all abandoned, so many people are gone or missing and stuff like that. But it was a weird twist on mine. I was a time traveler too. Like I was somewhere, I would keep time traveling to the future and then back. I could not control it, I don't think. But like one time we were on a ship, and like my mind was going through a lot of stuff last night. What was interesting is when I got back, I tried calling somebody because apparently we still had phones, but that person was missing. I don't know if they were dead or something like that, but I tried to call one. That was a sad moment. The saddest moment, though. At one moment, I was going to get a brownie in my dream, and then all of a sudden I time traveled. And I was like, no!
Oh, you didn't bring the brownie with you?
I don't know why. It was maybe on the table and I time traveled.
Oh, tragedy.
It might have been like the time traveler's wife. Have you ever seen that one where the time traveling person who goes between different places and they can't control when they jump?
No, I've heard of it, but
wow.
It's an interesting movie as well. So, but yeah, that's what I was doing in my dream and stuff like that. It was one of the weirdest dreams I've ever had in a long time.
So were you were Chromie in your dreams is what I'm hearing?
Exactly, but I couldn't control when I did it.
Makes sense. Chromie's a gnome, so
yeah.
Yes. And then I played headliner Navi News because Tom of Dragon Powered Studios of 3 Extra Lives was playing this game. And what was interesting about this game, you control the news. You get a story in front of you. It's kind of like Papers, Please, but you decide the news. Then you have to see what effect, what story you pick has on the people around you. It actually was a very interesting social commentary for this world, but kind of thinking, what impact does one thing happen? Because you would think, okay, this is the best pick. You would pick it. The community would go wild over something. And you're like, that's not what I intended. That's not what I was. I was like, what am I thought, okay, this story is not as bad as the other ones. I'll just approve this one. Nope. And now we know I got the time traveling. This one has time traveling because every time you finish, you go back and you unlock more and more. So I'm on my second playthrough. So I guess that's where it's going. I'm watching A Quiet Place, doing time traveling and stuff like that. So I guess that's where all my mind is going. Played some more Twitch sings, so getting a lot of good practice into that. And I found out that I don't have to go live. I like going live, but if I only have like 5 minutes, I can actually now record a quick 5-minute video. So I did Twist and Shout. I did I'm a material girl in a material world, and you lift me up so I can stand on mountains. I actually had Red Power Jill say that they were more impressed with You Lift Me Up. They said I did better than they thought I would. I was like, oh, thank you.
Thank you. I don't know.
I've watched a couple of your videos because you clip them and you put them out, and I've watched them. You're pretty good. You got some skills, Frasley. You got some skills.
I did have one solo. It was in Godspell. I was Frederick Nietzsche.
Ooh.
I had one note, and I don't think I kept it.
But the thing is, though, is I have to give you props. Like, not everyone would have the confidence to just go ahead and sing and put yourself out there like that. Like, I've thought about it because I really enjoy singing, but I enjoy singing in the shower or in the car to myself. I mean, even though I was in a choir for a little bit, I just to solo sing like that, I have to be drinking a lot of alcohol.
You can do it, Allie. There's enough rum in the world. We believe in you.
That's true. Karaoke nights with my friends a couple times has discovered that there is enough alcohol in the world for that.
It is weird though. You realize how many songs you don't know the lyrics to when I'm singing these. So I'm like, all of a sudden I'm like, listening. I'm singing. Oh, okay. The words. So there are a few times I slip up, but I'm getting better at it. And the way I look at it, I've always wondered what it would be like to do karaoke. I remember I was on a Disney cruise ship and my friend Steven told me, you will not go for karaoke. I was like, why? Now I know why.
No, it's so fun. I think one of the cool things about Twitch Sings is that, like you said, there's a lot of songs that you think you know the lyrics to. For instance, I really love At Last by Etta James. And I think I do like an okay rendition. But I got like 3 verses into that song and was like, I actually only know the chorus to this song.
It's always amazing. It's like, oh, I guess I need to listen to it more. So I'm going to have quite a few like versions of doing songs. Like I can finally do, can you feel the love tonight? I can finally do some of the verses. Like it makes kings and vagabond.
Yeah, save that for the Twitch Sings stream, Fraz.
Sounds good. And then aside from Twitch Sings, I went into WoW. I'm working on the war campaign because with 8.2, we don't know when it's going to arrive. I'm thinking June. People are saying July. So somewhere between there. But I realized I need to work on the war campaign on Fraz. So I need to get ready for 8.2. I got a decoder ring in one of the quests, and it told me to drink more Ovaltine. So I'll have to do that. Probably calcium. And then Corlac is up to 92, and I finished Fastir. Oh, I was doing this for Lore Master. I'm excited. You see where things are going, and like you see like the hints to Azara, and you see all the hints to all the stuff.
Oh, I'm so excited.
It was one of those. I was talking with Grand Nagus on the stream, and I had always heard that a third of the content was cut out of the Cataclysm content because it is weird. It feels like it ends right at the one point where you're about to head into that whirlpool, and all of a sudden, nope, you're at the dungeon, and that's it.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to learn more about the content. So, I mean, there's so much to learn. And that's why at this pace, I probably won't be Lore Master this year, but I'm going to keep hoping for it.
Hey, you're working on it. And you're not going to get it if you don't work on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to keep going. You've got a Lore Master right here, though.
Yes.
Well, when it comes to there's a reason why I'm focusing on dungeons, because I'm not the queen. I'm a servant of the lore. I'm still learning. So,
well, I'm really enjoying both you and Morally Grey podcast.
Oh, such a good show. I love that show.
Yeah.
So again, I'm going to have you on in the end of May. I need to come clean. I did not start listening to the show till today. I went on the word of everybody that I know, but it's been backlogged. So I started listening to episode 1 today of the show. Amazing. I so loved it. I learned about how like Amanthul is Bob Ross and stuff like that. And like Sir Garrus, I don't want to say anymore. You just got to listen to episode 1. And again, great job. I'm going to keep listening, but both of you are helping me understand more. And I love like again has somebody Fear who doesn't know anything about the lore. So I'm somewhere in between. Like I know parts of the lore, so it's fun seeing where I'm nowhere near close to Gen, but maybe seeing where I'm near Fear or stuff like that. So it's fun hearing that and hearing the back and forth, and just great episodes. And what was interesting is I tried listening to episode 15 and I couldn't because, I opened in the middle of a book, but they mentioned heartburn in episode 15. Then you got to episode 1 and there was heartburn. I think the Burning Legion must be trying to go after Gen, That, or they need a heartburn sponsor.
You may have to. Did you call him out on that? You may have to call him out on that.
I did, and he laughed.
I love that show because there's so much lore in this game. It's very deep. It's deeper than what's in the game. Between the books, the Warcraft Chronicles go even deeper, and he just does a fantastic job unpacking it in a very understandable and fun way. And I am insanely addicted to that show now.
And I love how it's trying to explain things in human language. I like that because I mean, there's so much to the lore, but I like how they're like trying to explain it. Like, here's what this is like, and everything. And when they say I'm enthralled Bob Ross, I'm like, okay, I get it.
It's nice to have that newbie perspective as well, like someone who's not familiar with the lore. Because if you really love something and you're really invested in it, if you're talking about it, you might be talking about it at like a really high level, or you're leaving out stuff that you just like, is there, so you don't really need to talk about it. But when you have someone who's at that beginner level who's going, oh, why is this like that? Or why is this bit of information important? It can help draw out more of the story.
Yeah, definitely.
And I like how Fear's doing recaps so you can hear Fear's take on it.
They're so good. Oh man, they make me laugh. There's some weeks where he knocks it out of the park and is great. And there's other weeks where he doesn't, and I giggle.
So yeah, definitely check out Marley Ray podcast. But tonight we're going to check out a podcast that I've been enjoying listening to, and I've been honored to be on, and Allie's been on. Mm-hmm. So Anna.
Oh, me?
Yes. So you run General Chat Podcast.
Oh, I sure do. My goodness.
How did you get into gaming?
My dad bought us a DVD player. He bought a PS1, and I think he bought it mostly for DVDs or for like him to play a certain game on. But when he bought it, it must have come with a package because he came home with like Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I remember playing Spyro on it, but I think that might have been later. I started playing with Castlevania. I don't know how, because I tried to play that game again as a fully grown adult, and it's hard. That is not an easy game. I don't know how I played it as a 8-year-old, as like a child, and was like, oh, this is great. I can spend hours playing this. But I loved it. Like, it was so fun. That element of like, you start out and then you lose everything and you have to build yourself up. It really grabbed me. It really like pulled me into the fiction. And like, I think, as a child, you can really relate to the idea of really having to like have a goal, because everything anyone's telling you is like, you have to wait and you have to have a goal and you have to, go to high school, go to college, figure out what you want to do. So you're feeling those pressures. So I think that's kind of why I grasped on Castlevania so much.
Nice. And I think they're coming out with a new Castlevania, I think Bloodstained, if I understand right.
Ooh, I'll have to look that up. Oh, I got to write it down.
I'm going back to reliving games that I've never gone into, though it's weird. I'm never told people I'm a good gamer. So like, I'm at some point going to play Shakiro, but I'm going to be very bad at it. I just want people to laugh at me for how bad I am, and I'll laugh at myself for how bad I am.
Yeah, as long as you're having fun, it's all good.
Yeah, that's the whole point of the game. Yeah. F gatekeeping.
What I love is I can at least on stream keeps me going and stuff like that. So after Castlevania in the PS1, how did you get started into playing WoW and Blizzard games?
Well, so I played games on and off. I actually got really into like the arcade scene. So I'd been playing like, first person shooters like Halo, Gears of War. But when I got into high school, I started hanging out at the local arcade. And so I was playing, like Time Crisis.
That's good.
Yeah, of course, a classic. But I got really hardcore into DDR and ITG. So like rhythm games, like I really loved playing rhythm games. So I had just kind of gotten hooked on these. I like bought the little plastic pad for home. I was playing it at home. I was in a relationship at the time with someone who also played a bunch of rhythm games and like frequented the arcade as well. We had met playing, and when that relationship ended, it didn't end well. And so I got cut off from one of the games that I really loved. So there was an absence in my life. It was a loss, I didn't feel like I could go there. I didn't feel safe. So I was looking as I was moving forward in my life with something else to do, something else to take up that time, something I could pour my passions into. I stumbled upon WoW. And I kind of had a false start with WoW because my dad bought me WoW. It was this box and it came with, with all the different discs. And we tried installing it and we couldn't figure out how to install it.
Oh no.
So this was, obviously a long before any sort of desktop install or anything like that. Like we got halfway through the install and it just like wasn't working. So at that point in my life, I didn't get into WoW, but a couple years later, so like a bunch of my nerdy friends recommended that I play it and I ended up trying it and I loved it. And I started playing in Wrath of the Lich King I started playing as a Draenei Hunter. After I got very frustrated with the mechanics of being a hunter at the time, I became a Frost Death Knight, and I was a Frost Death Knight for a very long time. I love the lore of Death Knights. I like the animation of the spells. I like all that pew pew snowflakes and frost that you're doing, and cleaving with axes, and just having a good time. So
that's awesome. A Death Knight. Wow. I've always seen your personality as being very nice and warm and welcoming.
What are you trying to say? I'm not tough?
No, I'm saying
She'll take you down, Frasley, and I will sit back with popcorn and watch.
I think I'll move on before you have my foot in my mouth.
No. One of my favorite tropes is soft, sweet girls covered in battle armor with big, big weapons. Like that is one of my favorite anime game tropes. So anytime I get to be a badass in a video game, I love it.
Definitely get that.
I've told whenever I've been in group discussions, the ones who are quiet are the ones to watch out for. They're the ones that are thinking. They're the ones that I'm the one spouting off everything in my head. And the ones who are thinking, they're the intelligent ones. I mean, it's so true that there was somebody in one class who we would always shut up whenever they would talk because they were brilliant.
Frasley, you are so silly because I've learned so much from you. So to insinuate that you're not the intelligent one is, I'm not hearing it. You're full of Nomi wisdom.
Oh, thank you. I'm blushing now. Which I did learn. I might actually have a little bit of albinism. I'm not trying to claim to have albinism, but the pigment. And they said because I've got twin sisters with it. So if I ever blush because I'm missing a lot of pigment.
Sure, that's the reason why. Blame that.
Yeah.
Lies.
So with the Death Knight and all that, there must have been something that made you want to talk about it and get into podcasting. How did that start?
To be honest with you, I'd been listening to a lot of different podcasts. And one thing that I kept hearing over and over, because I'd listened to a bunch of different comedy podcasts. I didn't realize you could get really niche with your podcast. When I started listening, I was just the top podcasts, and a lot of them were comedy podcasts. And a lot of people kept saying in a self-deprecating way, anyone could do this. Anyone can make a podcast. And I heard it so many times that I thought, I could make a podcast. And so I had that thought ruminating in my head for a little while, what's going on in that time period where I'm thinking, yeah, I can make a podcast. I'm starting to get into more podcasts. I'm starting to get into more of the Blizzard community podcasts. I've mentioned on the show a couple of the ones that have inspired me. So I'm listening to all these different shows and I'm thinking, these are all really great. And we're talking about lore and all these other things, but I would love to know, I love talking about the things that I enjoy. I just spouted off, probably way too long about why I like Skyrim or, what makes Castlevania fun to me. I want to know what makes things fun to other people. And I'm listening to all these different Blizzard podcasts and I know, why do people play this game? There's a lot of work that goes into playing most Blizzard games, but especially World of Warcraft. There's a bit of a grind. There's a little bit of work that goes into it. And I wanted to know what created that dedication. And from that little seed of wonder, I've started spreading across all different fandoms and it's become a much more general topic of conversation than just Blizzard shows, but I've really enjoyed doing it. And I was inspired by people being passionate about what they were talking about.
Was there ever a fear and a little voice in your head when you started?
I don't think that voice has gone away. I feel like I hear it every time I sit down to do an interview or I sit down to edit. Is this going to be good? Are people going to be like it? Why am I doing this? I feel like that was definitely there before I started. I think I put off doing it for a long time because I was I don't have the right kind of microphone. I don't I'm not a good enough interviewer yet. No one's going to want to talk to me. I'm going to run out of episodes because I can't get more people to interview. Like, there are a lot of hurdles that I kept going over before I just went, you know what? If I keep putting this off, if I keep giving reasons that I'm not ready to start, I'm not going to start. And so it took me just accepting that what I make in the beginning wasn't going to be good. And just like knowing that and trying to be as okay with it as I could be, that's what really enabled me to get past that voice saying, no, you're not ready, don't start yet, and to just go for it.
I would absolutely agree with you, because that voice still battles me every time. I mean, even before we started tonight, my voice was like, oh, tonight's not gonna be fun, and already it's been a blast.
Like, I don't know if that voice ever honestly goes away.
Yeah,
because I've talked to podcasters who have been doing it for multiple years, and still it may not be there all the time or may not be as loud, but that voice is still there in some way. But I have to say, like, since the beginning, you've really come into it, and I can tell, like, you've been building that confidence. And I know the episode I was on of yours, I was super nervous. I was kind of freaking out about it a little bit, even though Frazly said you were super nice to talk to and really easy and it would be fine. I was still freaking out about it because I didn't know if I'd say the right things or if I was going to be interesting enough. And you were just so lovely to talk to and so sweet and easy. And it really did feel like I was just sitting down over coffee with a friend and just chit-chatting. And your show is so awesome because it's so fun to see what people are like behind the screen and behind the gaming, behind their show, and who they are as a person. And there's not too many shows out there like that. So I have to give you kudos for that, because it really is a fantastic show.
My heart. Oh, thank you. I'm like, it's amazing to hear that you were so nervous, because I was nervous. And it's like, it's funny to have this human moment of just like, yeah, we all worry about like doing or saying the wrong thing. But, we kind of have to have this realization of like, everyone's like living their own life and they don't care as much about how we present or what we say as like we think they do. And it really makes me feel good to hear that your experience was good and that you felt safe, because it is ultimately my goal to make people feel like they're in a safe environment and that they can say what they want and not say what they want. That is the best kind of review I could have gotten. So thank you so much for saying that.
Well, and just to add to that, actually, ironically enough, got an email from one of my listeners a few days ago. I won't say the name or anything, but they were telling me that they listened to the interview I did in your show and they were able to relate to it because of something that their soon-to-be ex-wife was going through. And hearing just that more human side, like giving someone something to relate to. Like, I know for myself, a number of your guests have spoken to things that I know I can relate to, and it makes me feel better about being human and being able to relate to those people that I love listening to. Is just such an awesome thing.
Thank you so much.
You mentioned gatekeepers earlier, and that's one thing I love about podcasting is that you can talk about topics that may not make it to traditional sources because it's not wide enough appeal, but it can make it to a podcast and people can relate. Like, I've listened to podcasts that have connected with me in that same way. And like, wow, I feel like that person on that gets me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that there's something about having kind of that conversation of like, because you try to take the pretense away. It's like, we're both people sitting down to have a conversation about something we love. And I think when people are talking about something that they love, those walls kind of tend to come down.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, when you see like, oh, someone else gets why I love that thing, it kind of feels like they're seeing a little part of you and you feel validated in some way. And I think that if I can do that through podcast form, I will be so happy.
And what's cool is the conversations live on, and you never know the people that will be affected by something that is said.
Oh gosh, no pressure.
No. So how is your interest in psychology? Because that was the thing I found so fascinating when I was on the show, was your interest in psychology. How has that played a part in developing your podcast?
So, gosh, I wish what I should do is like go and maybe get a degree in psychology, because I wish I could be like, I'm an expert in the matters of the mind. But I can't say that. All I can say is that I find interpersonal relationships really interesting. I find the relationships between, why we engage with the things we engage with to be really interesting. And I want to know, why do you love that thing? Because something that I do, my best friends will tell you, I'm really bad about it, is I will always be like, oh my God, I'm watching this thing. It's the best thing ever. Or I'm playing this game. It's the best game ever. I will just word vomit all over them and just say sorry, I didn't want to be gross. I will just say, oh my God, I love this thing so much and I want you to watch it and I want you to experience so we can have that shared experience. And I think there's something that is stimulated when you are able to share a connection like that. It just feels good. And I like being able to take a look and strip everything away, because I think ultimately we all just want to be seen and loved, right? So being able to kind of take a step back and go, why do we like this thing? I'm laughing at chat because someone just said worst view would have been better. Sorry, I'm trying my best.
Oh, I was thinking of Diary of the Mouth and all that.
Oh, that's a good one. Thank you, Fraz.
Because I'm guilty of that all the time.
I really like seeing why we interact with these things, and I kind of want to just get to the bottom of that. And oftentimes I found that talking about the things we love brings up a lot of oh, well, I like this because in my childhood I had an orange creamsicle, and this particular game reminds me of that memory of having that orange creamsicle on the front porch on a warm summer day. And so you can really get people to talk about themselves that way. And I just think that's so interesting. And I'm going to go out and get my psychology degree, and I'll tell you why I find it interesting. Once I have that, I'll be an expert in the matters of the mind, and then you can have me back on.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, what's fun is you helped me see that one of the reasons that I love to stream is because I loved watching my sister play Zelda and realizing I want to share that with other people. So you helped me see things in myself that I had never processed.
I'm so glad.
What is the best thing? And I know this is a hard question because there's so many best things. What is the best thing that's happened to you since you started?
Honestly, I think it's been the friendships that I've made along the way. God, what a memey thing to say. But I think it is. I think I've been able to talk to so many people that I wouldn't think I would have been able to talk to. When I reach out to them, it's they're never going to answer me. They'll never talk to me. Why would they give me the time of day? And then they do. And on top of that, we remain in contact, and sometimes friendships form, It's been so nice to become friends with you, Fraz, and become friends with you, Ellie, and to be in a tighter knit community. But even outside of the podcasting community, I became friends with Galactic Jonah, who I had on for one of the episodes. I just admire them so much, and being able to have that relationship and to reach out and say, oh my God, let's talk more. And having that just feels so special to me. And I think that's been the best thing to come out of this podcast.
I would almost say the podcast, because I've found the experience when I'm with somebody, it helps me get over that initial afraid. And then, and now I was afraid to talk with people, but then after I talked with them on one podcast, I feel like I'm good chums with them.
Yeah. Well, and I will say part of the reason why I started the podcast, and I didn't really talk about this earlier, I really struggle with anxiety. And at the time that I was thinking about making it and putting it off, I was so nervous about talking to people. And I just thought, if I can force myself to interview someone and make myself talk to someone and talk to people over and over again to make this thing that I think will be good, then I can kind of help cope with that anxiety of talking to different people. And it really has helped me, because before I would have trouble talking to people on the street or whatever, or going and making small talk with someone you're ordering food from. And I think I've become a lot better at that through doing the show. So it has actually materially helped me.
I feel the same way. I've become more confident, and I used to always think of myself as a background person. I never would be expecting to be on episode 103 talking with somebody and being kind of the director of the show. That was never the role I ever would have expected. It's weekly practice. I call this weekly therapy for me. I mean, not in a official therapy, but it helps me work through a lot of confidence issues in my life.
It's so true. For example, for this upcoming weekend, I'm going to be seeing a lot of people from high school that I have not seen in a very long time. Some of them 16 years. I'm nervous, but at the same time, I know in the past when I've talked to people within the last year or so that I don't know, I feel like I am drawing on that confidence I gain through podcasting. And while I still have that anxiety and I'm nervous, I'm not quite as nervous and I'm a little more calm and I can kind of convince myself a little more that I can do it, at least better than I could before.
Well, and think of this, Allie. Whatever you say this weekend will only be heard by so many people. Everything that you say online is heard by thousands of people across the world.
Thanks, buddy. That helps me real good with the podcast.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. What is one hidden pitfall in podcasting that prevents people from succeeding?
I think I'm actually really struggling with this one. And I think it is reaching a wider audience. Because I think, especially for people such as myself who might be more introverted, who might be anxious, who might be dealing with any sort of mental illness, I think it can be really hard to take something you made and go, you should listen to this. I made this and I think it's good. Please listen to it. And to kind of reach out and to try to network and to try to get people to be talking about yourself. Because to be successful, you have to get yourself in front of as many eyes as possible. And you have to really be reaching out. And I will say, it's very important to cultivate a strong base, like appreciate the people who have always been with you. It's important to like build a strong community, but it's also important to be seen. And I think that it's very difficult to kind of do that. I'm struggling with it, but I'm trying to learn how to be better. And I think that that's something that it's definitely like, you can make it all you want, but you have to eventually become good at being like, please listen to my thing.
Yeah.
Being your own advocate. Yeah.
Yes.
You see all the flaws in whatever you do, but nobody else sees the flaws in what you do.
That's exactly it, Frazly.
Or if they do, they look past it because they're like, okay, that person's, they're not like the NPR people. And even NPR, I'm betting they have flaws in what they do. They do a great job, but I'm betting, there's always that things that's not perfect that we never see.
They've got lots of paid editors. That's what they have.
Yes, like today's episode of FrazlCast will have a team of 36 people working on it.
Oh, really? If you want to send them my way when you're done, that'd be great.
I'll my people contact your people.
Thanks, buddy.
What is the best piece of advice anyone has ever given you?
I think the best piece of advice I was given by Jason Lucas of the Starting Zone. And I will say that, Frazly, you've been really wonderful at giving me advice. Allie, you've given me advice. You've also given me really wonderful reviews and good feedback. Everyone that I've talked to has been so nice. But whenever I run something by Jason, he gives me the most constructive, like, this is what you have to do. This is, the reasoning behind this. He really has that kind of marketing mind that's incredible. One of the things that really helped me out was that, he told me, this is going to sound silly because it's very obvious, but you just have to be consistent. And that was something that I struggle with. Because as I've mentioned, I struggle with mental illness. Like I have depression, anxiety. Like sometimes I just don't want to do it. Part of making something is going, I'm going to commit to this and I'm going to be serious about it and I'm going to do it. And, he talked about engagement with people following a routine, and the people who listen to your show are looking forward to it. I put it out every other week. And for me, it's okay to miss a week every once in a while, but I was consistently missing weeks at that point. That kind of gave me a kick in the butt to kind of be like, yes, okay, you're right. I do need to be more consistent about it. I need to have episodes in the can just in case, or prompts where I can record something quickly and put that up. That really helped me kind of get things in focus. And so I think just pragmatically, that was the most helpful bit of advice I've received.
I would absolutely echo that on the consistency. It keeps me every week focused. Like I got to get this done. I don't procrastinate. And what's interesting is I've noticed other projects I do in life are getting easier because I also am now holding them to the same standard. Like I make workflows for this. I've made workflows for other projects now. So there was one project that I used to be so inconsistent on. Now I get into that project, I'm done in maybe an hour.
Wow.
But I used to procrastinate and just be like, oh, okay, I'll get that. There was one time I didn't get to the project for about 3 weeks.
Ooh. Yeah, but it's like, if I can do that, if I can do the podcast every week, then I can go into work and get that thing I've been putting off done.
Absolutely. It's practice and it's a mind shift. And one thing that you have mentioned is you draw during the recording and editing. And I don't know how you did it because I can barely focus on one thing at a time. But how did you get into drawing?
Drawing is something that for a long time I've wanted to do, but I always told myself that I could never do it, that I was too far behind, that I didn't start in like middle school or high school, and that, I'm just starting now in my late 20s, and I'm like, wow. Well, I don't put myself down, but I'm not, top tier artist. I'm not someone who's going to be featured in an art gallery or anything like that. I'm just starting out. I'm a newbie. It's okay to be bad, but that's where I'm at. And so for a long time, I just went, well, I just kind of feel like doodling today. I'll just doodle something in like a spare sketchbook and that'll be it. It's just like doodles. I'm not like an artist. I'm not a real artist. I'm not actually, doing anything that's worthwhile. One of those nights, I've been big into Critical Role, as anyone who listens to the show knows. I talk about Critical Role a lot, probably too much, but I've been big into Critical Role. And so one night I stayed up, I was drawing one of my favorite characters, not the Brave, who's a little goblin girl, or goblin woman, I should say. And I was drawing her, and, I'd put a decent amount of effort into it. And I was just like, maybe I could color this sometime. I don't know. I don't have a tablet. I don't have anything like that. I just have my mouse and keyboard. And I just thought, well, I don't know. So I took a picture of it on my phone and sent it to my email and thought, maybe one day I'll get to it. I was editing the show, as I often do. I'm scrolling on my phone, like, And I just thought, oh, I have this picture. I should try my hand at coloring it. And so I'm listening with one ear to my guests talking about something that they love, listening for out of place ums or too many pauses or me saying something completely embarrassing and just completely taking that out. No, I leave it all in. Everything embarrassing is in there. It would just be an empty audio file. No, but so I'm listening for errors essentially. And I try coloring it in, and to my surprise, it wasn't half bad. And I thought, well, heck, I have the spare time. I'm doing this, but, I can multitask, and I might as well hone something that, like, I never thought I would be good at, and now I have the opportunity to do it. I've always wanted to draw more. As of right now, the next time I'm going to edit, I'm working on my first 2-person piece. I'm doing another, like, Critical Role fan art. Yes, I'm very excited about it. So hopefully in, like, a week or two, that'll be up, and we'll see.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
Nice.
I like that. Now you've inspired me not to draw. I'm doing enough stuff. I can't. But I like that. Not putting it off. Just being like, I'm just going to do that.
Yeah, I thought I would try it. It turns out that, hey, I didn't do that bad. And now I have another thing that I can make and go, I made this with my 2 hands because I love it. And I want you to see it. And hopefully you'll like it too.
And I was trying to look at some of the drawings that you've done. I was looking at some of the hobbies. I want to make sure I was getting the full picture of Anna. So I go on your site and I see that you make YouTube videos.
Oh, no.
I see that you do streaming. And that's when I said, I got to go around and do more Twitch Sings. So you actually inspired me this week to get back into Twitch Sings. It's your fault that I've got the Twitch Sings videos that are out there.
Yes. All right. I'll take it.
Am I missing any other hobbies and things that are passionate to you? Because you mentioned the ducks, and I think you mentioned chickens.
Yes. Yeah. So it's 7 chickens and 2 ducks. I think one of the things about me that I don't really talk about, mostly because my podcast is about talking to other people, but I'm always striving to learn and do new things. I would find my own personal life rather boring if I wasn't trying to learn something new or learn how to do something better or how to further myself in some way. So I'm always doing something. Recently, I've gotten into having chickens and ducks. You mentioned YouTube videos. Yeah, I also really enjoy the process of trying to figure out how to put a scene together and what to make a video about. I haven't done anything in a long while, but I'll give you an exclusive. The next thing I'm trying to do is I want to do a seasonal ASMR video where I am maybe the essence of springtime, maybe a fawn or something. And I would like to tell you about spring. And so that's the next thing I'm going to work on.
That is awesome.
Very cool.
Thank you. I've been told I have a voice for ASMR.
You do. It's very, very mellow, very soothing. But not in a boring, bland, one tone way. It's just very, very relaxing.
Because it's not like mine. Mine's very shrill, so I would be the wrong thing for it.
I love your voice, Travis. It gets me hyped every time.
Okay, good.
Yes.
It's very energetic.
I definitely don't want to. This is welcome to FrazlCast ASMR.
Oh.
How tonight we're going to talk about podcasting. So you take the mic, plug it into the XLR. Goes into the interface.
I don't know, Brad. I think you might have something there. You might be onto something.
You know what? We need to do a collab. So we will do
Okay,
the essence of
sounds good.
spring with podcasting. So see, it'll be a
Next time you have so this is the 103rd episode, maybe the 150th or 200th episode, you should do a ASMR episode.
oh, don't give me ideas because that is going down and typing down into 150.
I'm glad I could inspire you, friends.
Can I suggest not having Zorts on the episode or me either?
Oh, now that you say it, both of you.
Just the jokes we would make.
No, I want to hear these jokes, Allie. What are you going to say?
I just made the Trello board now, so that is official. And now Ali and Zorts will be on it, absolutely, because now I need the jokes.
I don't think that would be PG cast, my friend. I don't suggest you do
You know
that.
how many shows aren't PG on this show?
Well, true, but
Frasley After Dark.
Oh, no, that would be...
basically, yes. Anna, yes.
Well, I think that's all the time we have for this session, Anna. So that will be $50 times. How many hours have you been doing this? I'm going to round up to 2 hours, so it'll be about $100. So I take Square Cash, Venmo, PayPal, Apple Cash, Twitch Bits, and stuff like that.
We'll have to see if my insurance covers it. I think therapy is a specialist copay, so we'll see. It'll work out in the wash. I'll pay back.
Yeah, I think maybe it's like my chiropractor. I think your first 4 in a year are covered, and then after that, you have to pay for it. So,
Okay, well, you heard it here first. You'll have to have me back 3 more times. So
absolutely. So, thank you both for joining me on FrazlCast. I had a great time.
That was a lot of fun, as always.
So, where can we find you on the interwebs? We'll start with Anna.
So you can find my personal Twitter, in which I say a variety of very silly things, at Anastazja Soliz, and I will spell that out for you. ANASTAZJA SOLIZ. It's a hard one, I know. But you can find General Chat at General Chat Pod. And if you want to send us an email, if you have any feedback, it's generalchatpodcast@gmail.com.
Nice. And the reason I came back onto this laughing is Winchester in chat said, joke of the show, how does Naxxramus fly with its 4 wings? And Allie did a face flop. So I'm just like...
Oh, Winchester. Winchester now says, here's the Price of Right losing music play.
That's apt. That's good.
Yes.
So, Allie, when you aren't having your dog spayed and neutered and you aren't face popping, where can we find you? I had to transition from Price is Right.
That is quite the transition. Oh my. So you can find my show Dungeon Fables wherever you get your podcasts, such as this one. You can find me on Twitter at Dungeon Fables. You can find my personal Twitter at AleandrasK. And you can also hear me every week on All Things Azeroth.
And with that, I got to head back to Ironforge because the ASMR meetup is starting. They're going to teach people how to start an ASMR group. I want to get into my first lesson.
Activating customized orchestrated transporter.
Well, I'm back at my home of Ironforge until we one day reclaim Nomergon.
Let's look at what has been happening in the community.
Awesome. Let's do that. So Desmophitos continues their awesome charity events for April. They're working on a lot of their warrior levelings. They have raised almost $2,000 for the Autism Awareness Month charities for ASAN and Integrate. So definitely check them out. And I've been enjoying getting to talk with them on Discord, different things. Desmophisto's really cool. And I agree with Toasty. I keep running into the thing, Desmophisto. But yeah, go check them out and support what they're doing. And BlizzCon State should hopefully be soon. There was a tweet by Ro, and I went with them. It's kind of curious why we haven't seen it yet, but it should be hopefully soon. I won't be there this year due to financial reasons, but I am planning to cover things happening up to it. I'm going to provide information on BlizzCon events and parties, so get your money ready to support some great events like DitchCon and Con Before the Storm. And an entry for a WoW Classic beta has appeared on the system Blizzard uses to push out updates, which means that Classic is getting closer to its summer release that we've been told about. And I want to give a huge shout out to Countdown the Classic that has just now reached 100 episodes. Way to go! And we're going to the 100 Club. If you want awesome classic stuff to tide you over till we get the release, check out that awesome podcast. I want to get them on the show as well. My short list keeps growing of the people I want to get on this list. The reason I brought up Classic on this episode was that Wowhead has now imported 237,533 comments and replies that were on Alakazam, and they're now on their Wildhead Classic site. My hat is off to the awesome crew at Wildhead who are preserving these bits of history. As someone who has lost data over the years, I know that this is no small task. And I want to give a shout out to Allie at Dungeon Fables, who's putting together a amazing Create Your Own Dungeon episode with the listeners of Dungeon Fables. I sent in stuff for a boss. I was going for this one small thing. It's kind of about a place that you all know is dear to me. And I sent in some voiceover lines too for the encounter. Went a little overboard my encounter, but I'm excited to see what small parts make it into the dungeon. So go on and check out Dungeon Fables and listen to episodes 43 and send in your contributions for an amazing dungeon. Well, this has been another awesome episode of FrazlCast. Thank you to Crush, who sent in a tweet saying they enjoyed hearing all the stories from Jill in episode 102. Hearing that someone enjoyed something I produced just gives me a huge smile. Thank you. That's that creative Red Bull that I need. And I love every episode giving a shout out to my Twitch subs out there. Thank you to Michael the Blue Recluse, Dusty Porter of Nerd This, Blizzard Umbrella, and YouTube Creators Hub Podcast, Razurish, Thorn of Lagging Balls, and BNN, Toss Mifune of the Half-Hour Report, Zorts the Goblin, and Nihar. If you want to support this show with a Twitch sub, go to support.gnomepodcast.com and you can buy a shirt at gnomeshirt.com. Twitch subs also give you an emote, which can be linked up for use in Discord, and as iMessage stickers using the Twitch app. And thank you to Savvy the Nerd for the bits. All of these bits, subs, and shirts go to help supporting this labor of love. Well, I am Frazly, and you can find the show at gnomepodcast.com. Until next week, be awesome. And put all your DPS into the boss. I'll heal you, babe.
Welcome to the Horde. Quickly to the barracks and grab the sword. There's a king we're after by the name of Rin.
Hello? Hey, this is Frazly. So I break the silence to bring you the Fraz report from a quiet place. We can't be too loud, as there's something coming. Didn't you see the image of the black hole that has made the rounds on the internet? And there are rumors, too, of a quest regarding the Zoth and Xalatath, and possibly a secret. So I'm reporting to you from an undisclosed location, for fear of my own safety. We've known 8.2 is coming, but Jeremy Fiso, who always makes me crave muffins, chocolate muffins, sriracha muffins, fish muffins, I'm sorry, I haven't eaten in days. I've been trapped in here. I almost ate a rat like in Little Monsters. I finally got access to send this report out. I cannot wait for Verizon to get 5G to Azeroth. So Jeremy spoke to us about all the awesome things coming at 8.2. We've known a lot of what's coming. We did hear some more details about Nashtar and the raid. But more importantly, we got confirmation that Mechagon will be totally awesome. It's going to have dailies, emissaries, bodyguards, turrets, and so many cool things in it. I cannot wait. There will even be a customized trinket using punch cards in the 8 boss dungeon. Oh no. I hope I didn't get too excited. I hope whatever's out there didn't hear me. I mean, I think this place has noise isolation. Let's continue before things get out of hand. They talked about the Heart of Azeroth system as well. It'll be really cool like in Legion. And I've got a link at fazreport.com to an in-depth discussion of that. There's a lot of other cool things in it. A lot of it we've known from before. There was a lot of clarification of sorts. Podcasts like FrazlCast, The Blue Recluse, and Epic Fail Podcast, and others have talked about it in more detail. Plus, if I get out of here safely, we will talk about it on the next Frazly News Hour. So since my time here is short, I'll get to the biggest and most unexpected change. Aside from the Brewfest pretzel hat, which I want. So 8.2 is introducing equipable gear for mounts. Things like a parachute, water walking shoes, and barding to prevent being dazed. Those will definitely help me a lot, as I've been known to die by falling off cliffs. There were prototypes for the inflatable mount shoes, and they were rubber ducky inner tubes, and even those arm floaties that kids wear when learning to swim. Unfortunately, the dragons and yaks were some of the mounts that did not take kindly to floaties around their shoulders. The dragons almost torched the people putting the floaties on them. and one person told a very uncooperative yak, "Yakety yak, don't bite my back." This water walking will unfortunately remove the ability for water striders to work, unless they have the ability added to the new gear. Free shoes will be mailed to those who have the water strider, and it'll be available for a discount from the water strider vendor. And Blizzard did mention that you unlock the mount gear system once on a level 100 character, and then after that, any level 20 character can use the gear. It's by non-account, so it can be mailed between your alts. I haven't heard anything outside yet. Okay, that's good. Well, 8.2 is hitting PTR this week, and to quote Warcraft stats, it will be a game of gnomes. Oh no, they're here. I gotta go. Until next time, I hope there's a next time, be awesome and stay quiet.
FrazlCast is a fan podcast that covers Blizzard games. We are not affiliated with Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. Views expressed by the host and guests are their own. Some of the art, music, and sound effects come from Blizzard Games and are owned by Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. No copyright infringement is intended.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.